Good evening, good morning to other part of the world. Welcome to Siddha Vetha Multiversity webinar series. So today we have a panel discussion, experts on the concept of co-realization. So co-realization means it's not like a vague concept. It's a very, very practical concept. It can apply to relationships, for example, in families. It can be relationship with your working environment, a job. It could be between countries, between cultures. So why this co-realization is important? That's the whole topic, different aspects. And we have different experts here. We'll be bringing more experts. So right now in our team we have Mr. Theo Chambers. So he has been expert in various fields. So everyone I will give the time to introduce, because everyone is very deep in their way. It will take more time for me to introduce them, but they will introduce themselves in this team and a little bit more about them, and then we'll go for the topic. And then we have Miss Pallavi Joyce, and she's been an expert in mindfulness healing. She runs a school also in this, so she's part of our faculty team. And we have Mr. Selva, Abita. They might join a little later, but we will start with this topic with Mr. Theo right now. So we will, and Miss Pallavi. So Ms. Selva is here, is the co-realization leader here. So we have most of them. So today the topic will be, let us start with family peace. So when I say family peace, different perspectives, each one talk about the way how you see family peace, why it is important for the world, and how family peace can bring world peace. So this is the topic we are starting with, and then we'll go for different topics. So please, Mr. Theo, join us. Ms. Pallavi, I'm going to come on the video. So each one of you share your views on family peace, please.
Okay. Family peace is a very vague concept. Let me explain why. The family is the micro of the cosmos. And if we understand that within families, same mother, same father, 4 siblings, and each sibling have a different philosophy and ideology. So if we cannot find peace within a small nucleus family, multiply that by billions of families, and you still have the same issues and so forth. So the situation is, how do we find peace within even a family that is very chaotic in the whole environment, because mother and dad don't agree with each other, the siblings don't agree with what mother's saying. And if that exists within a small family, and you multiply that same family by 10 million family, then you have 10 million issues in the world. So the issue is, how can we find peace today, at least for a few hours within the family? And to do that, we got to come to the conclusion that we are transient visitors on planet Earth with an expiration passport. And if we are visiting planet Earth, then it is up to us to find peace and happiness at least 1 minute per day, every day. And to me, that's the way we have to look at life and say, I'm vacationing on planet Earth. Each day is one less day for me to be on planet Earth. And I have to find a way to find at least some way type of joy and happiness to just being here and take myself out of the situation. And last but not least, if the problem that we're facing existed 5,000 years ago, and the same problem would exist 5,000 years from now, then how can I try to deal with the problem that I'm having and at the same time carving out a little portion for my own happiness and peace? And if each family does that, then collectively we can find some type of peace in knowing that we have no other choice but to enjoy today. And one more thing I want to say, tomorrow, next week, next month never exists. Because when tomorrow and next week shows up, he changed his name to today. So when tomorrow shows up, it's still today. When next week shows up, it's still today. So do not postpone our happiness until tomorrow. Let's do it right now. Because when tomorrow shows up, it's still today. So I learned to master today and find happiness as much as possible today. And I find happiness every day of my life.
Wonderful, wonderful. So you're saying we should think as if we are visitors. That will keep us, okay, you're a visitor in a family, you're going to another family visitors, you just keep it nice and come back. Why are you messing, right?
Yes.
Very good point, Mr. Theo. So I think, Mr. Theo, we invited you to be in the advisory board and in our team. So you please announce a little bit more about yourself. Please tell me a little bit more about why you are interested in so many things are there in the world. You can make $1 million, go do something. Why have you chosen this kind of field?
I would say this. When I was 12 years old, I was introduced to the mystical art of the Rose Cross, better known as the Rosicrucian. And from then, I realized that I am part of nature itself. The person that is speaking is inside this body we call the human body, but it's not me. I learned that I'm 37.2 trillion cells. I'm an ecosystem of cells working in communication with the universe and the cosmos. No one die rich. The day we die, we are broke. So my whole concept of life is understanding where I was. I'm 75 years old. So where was I 80 years ago? Where am I going after this metamorphosis? The human metamorphosis, that's what I call it, not death. I don't call it transition, I call it human metamorphosis. So from the years of 12, I was always concerned. Was born in Panama, grew up in New York, joined the United States Air Force. Then I became the #1 black magician in the entire world, cutting women in half, levitation, working circuits in Las Vegas, making doves appear, disappear. One second. I have something I would show you some of my pictures.
Sure. Please. Yes.
1 second.
Yeah. Please take your time. Theo is he has almost 7 books released, a lot of nice insight books, and it's worthwhile to read all of his books. Very few people who are very dedicated.
I can't find it.
Yes, no problem.
Well, next time.
Yeah. You're coming in the next. Yeah,
next time I show you that.
Speech,
but my latest 2 books is the one that I call The Imperfect Perfect Universe. I wrote this one, and the other one that I wrote called One-on-One with AI, Artificial Intelligence. And I live 24 hours a day enjoying life, learning about the cosmos, the universe, where we are. And that's what I do every day. Material things don't mean anything to me because I have friends that we just talk about life, and that's it, energy and vibration. The Akashic records. How do you tap into the Akashic record? What is the Akasha? All of that stuff. That's what I teach and that's what I share every day.
Wonderful, wonderful. That's why you're with us, like-minded people.
Yeah.
Wonderful, Miss Pallavi. You go ahead, please. What you have been doing? You tell a little bit more about your work that you have been doing and why are you here now? You know, in terms of what you are.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Sean and Mr. Theo. It was wonderful listening to you. I have been a mindfulness teacher and mentor for a very long time now. So I work with both children and adults, teaching them how to get beyond their everyday or either everyday challenges or beyond that also. I also partner with mental health professionals and organization to help their clients. Besides that, I have also been a student of Vedanta for many years now. So one of my daily routines is to read from one of the Upanishads and to listen to a lecture besides my own personal practices. So having said that, to your very important question, Dr. Shan, how do we bring peace into the family life? I would say it would be by leading. The elders in the house would have to lead and teach the children to be in a particular way. And success in school, colleges, outside world happens more easily than success in our internal life itself. So bringing the attention, with the teachings from the scriptures, whatever religion, faith that you follow, bringing that forward and practicing it little by little, step by step. So we're teaching the children now as they grow how to begin to understand their own thoughts and emotions. How much attention should they give it? How much of it is true? How much of it is just based on perceptions or fears or anger or any of those kinds of emotional states? And so that way, teaching them to be resilient and also teaching them how to be grounded, how to be not be influenced by their own peers or others that they come in touch with. So remaining grounded so that they can carry forward that learning from their childhood into their adult life and then take it forward into their own family, to their workplace, and become very strong leaders. And apart from that, I would also say an attitude of acceptance and gratitude. There is this cycle of being a consumer, right? I'm here today in this place because there were so many people who contributed to where I am today. My parents, my first round of family, the cousins, the aunts, uncles, the grandparents. But then when I went to school, it wasn't my first round of relatives or even distant relatives. There were a whole bunch of people who were coming together so I could study, I could understand the subject. In much the same way, when I'm not well and I go to a hospital, there's so many people who have come together to make that treatment possible. So in every way of our life, there is some sort of contribution that is coming from another person, and it's being made available to me, and I'm being a consumer. How do I give back? So if I'm not grateful for the things that the world is giving me, how and will I ever give back? So learning to be grateful for every moment, everything that comes our way. Sometimes there are challenges that come our way. So can we be grateful for that challenge? Because if it wasn't for that challenge, I would not know how to be different, how to handle it. So I'm learning something from it. So bringing in this attitude of acceptance and gratefulness into our life. And lastly, I would say sort of beginning to tamp down on that expectation, that's so fueled by the desires. So can we start sort of begin to recognize, yes, this is not a healthy desire. So let me not all the time want my way. So yes, I would say some of the most important things to keep in mind to bring in peace at home.
Wonderful.
But happy.
So one thing you
where
said
there is open communication without any fear. So yes, gratefulness and acceptance would tremendously help that open conversation.
Wonderful. So leading is very important, as you said, like elders should lead.
Lead
Because
by
often today, elders, like the kids are separated in terms of technology, and no more listening, communication is happening. And grandparenting doesn't exist today because there is a huge gap between the two generations, very total different generation. And that wisdom is not carried. Grandparents' wisdom is not carried by third generation, and something else is leading them. They are into YouTube or other kind of gadgets, that's guiding them. They are becoming the leaders, people who come in the devices. So there's a challenge, real challenge there. So we need to really work around these challenges and bringing this, implementing this is becoming a big challenge today. And who's going to listen? We are talking, and we cannot bring people into this conversation. Maybe parents listen, they are alone, they know, they understand, but they're not able to transfer this to the kids. So there is a real challenge here. So I think all points are like very well taken. So we are going very deep. Each one of you have different experiences. So let us listen to what Selva says. He is the co-realizer here. He is leading the co-realization team in Siddha Vetha. So Mr. Selva, could you please join us if you can on video? He is usually a person behind the scene, but kindly, please. Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Good evening and good morning to all. Thank you, Dr. Shan, for giving this opportunity through Siddha Vetha to really understand about realization, co-realization. I really appreciate Dr. Shan, who coined this word as co-realization, because always we have heard about self-realization, but not the terminology as co-realization. There's lots of meaning into it if you go deep into it to understand what is all about co-realization. And I'll be very short to the point. There is always a cause and effect. And my role in Siddha Vetha is to bring in, to bridge the gap between modern science and ancient science. Because on its own, modern science has given a great aspect for human survival and development for all these years, at least for the last 100 years. And ancient science is a science even before the modern science came into place to help the humanity to move forward. So ancient science and modern science, bridging the gap, is what Siddha Vetha is trying to do. And I'm proud that I'm part of the Siddha Vetha. And in this aspect, we are mostly in the future today, as well as in the future webinar programs, which is going to come, we are going to bridge this gap and see what is the commonality between modern science and ancient science. in this aspect, when I mentioned about cause and effect, that's what ancient science always tells us. And even Newton's laws says that for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. So ancient science talks about cause and effect, and even the modern science says that for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. So by saying this, how this modern science and ancient science we can build together or bridge together and see the purpose of our existence in this world and how we can coexist by co-realizing. And some of the few words that I will be harping on will be positive mindset, and we are one. When I mention about we are one, unity in diversity. The beauty about what we experience day in and out, we all look different. We all have different perspectives. We all have different thoughts process, and we all look different. No one person is the same. That's what I really mean about diversity. Unity means what is the one which really brings all this diversity together. That is the focus will be squarely going to the modern science, which talks about energy. Energy, when we talk about energy, I will directly go into today's buzzword about quantum mechanics and the theory of relativity, which talks about energy. Even Tesla, who talks about energy. Energy is nothing but frequency and vibrations. And theory of relativity, energy, he talks about how matter switches over to energy and energy switches over to matter at the speed of light. So to make it much more short and to simple, I conclude in my introduction that my interest is mostly bridging between modern science and ancient science, and how we can coexist and co-realization model through Siddha Vetha. Thank you, Dr. Shan.
Thank you. And wonderful things you talked about, touching modern and ancient science. I think quantum mechanics is going towards that. It's that it's become very materialistic, but we can relate that these things can be really applied, I think, and we can use those techniques, modern techniques, to prove ancient science. And many of the ancient science, we can see co-realization of ancient science. The African community as also all the element based science, how ancient thing derived. Everybody had a traditional culture. South Americans had, Chinese have their culture. All these traditions, they come from energy based culture, if you look at, except for Western science. Even in Western science, it was once upon a time. The Greek thing was energy based, but then they related, when they separated the religion from science, they completely become atheistic. They remove the energy part, they remove the God part, the conscious part. So we lost everything. Now there is a separation. Christianity is fighting by itself, and we have a separate thing as science, which is trying to establish everything without any ethics. So there is a need for bridging this gap today, and this cannot be done by just one culture. We need to bring the old traditions, Native Americans, the Egyptians, African tradition, the Mayans, the Incas, all the different ancient cultures. They have invaluable knowledge that is needed for humanity. And only that's why I'm saying co-realization is needed, because you can be guru in your own community and only your community people will listen to you. When will you realize that we need to include? Only when you're including and binding, we can bring the world peace, not by isolating yourself into what your context or things that that will not help. So we need a broadening up, this kind of the guruism or whatever you call it. We need a system of gurus. We do not a single guru. It will not work. Those kind of thing will not work. We need a system, guru system. That's very important. So based on this, I was talking on just now. Abhitaji came here. So we were talking of family peace. We'll move to a next topic. So now let us come to the next topic. How can we have Dr. Abhita can join us? So this peace in the family, do you think the fees in family is useful for the work environment? If you're going to a job and you're working there, is your family peace affecting your work environment, or is the work environment stress affecting your family? What is it happening? Whether your family peace is helping the work environment to be peaceful, or the other way, which one do you take? So this is the challenging question I want to throw to different people. We can start with maybe Abhita ji. Please introduce yourself. She's from Singapore and she's been an athlete and she's been a health coach and emotional intelligence coach, all kind of coaches. So please join us with Mr. Theo and Ms. Pallavi and Mr. Selva. Yes.
Thank you, Dr. Shan. Thank you for your introduction. So, as Dr. Shan mentioned, I'm Abhita Venkatraman. I'm from Singapore. I worked 15 years extensively in IT. During those years, I was actually doing a lot of my spiritual sadhanas, which took me in different paths. And I landed up learning the yogic instructor courses and other things, started coaching on emotional as well as mental well-being. And not only that, I do physical sports. I'm an athlete here, where I train myself and also other sports people holistically through the ancient as well as the modern, which we call it as an integrated approach to increase the athlete's efficiency and also minimize injuries. So coming to the topic, what Dr. Shan asked about is, it's the family piece that's helping your working environment, or it's the family piece that's disturbing the working environment. Again, from an emotional coach perspective, I say that emotions are always has a ripple effect when we don't know how to manage them. So anything can disturb anything. So if you don't have a good working environment there, what can happen is that when you come home and you're not emotionally balanced, or you don't maintain an emotional hygiene because of your practices, you might spill it over in the house, where the peace of the house or the peace of the family can be compromised because of the reactions we show to the people around us in the family because of what's happening at workplace. The same thing can happen when we don't have that. It's again the peace, or the other things which we say is again the ability of us to see the things and the ability of us to tackle things in a different way. So there's nothing as stress when we have a right perspective towards it and understand how we can emotionally, as Selvaji said, as how the vibrations affect, the frequencies affect our health as well as the surroundings around us. When we have this idea, then I think we can eliminate the word stress itself. And there will be nothing that will be disturbing us when we come to that zone. And it's not really easy. It takes years and years of practice and lot of falls in my own experiences also. Even though I coach a lot, there will be certain times when we really fall a prey to this emotional things. Again, what it needs is your resilience to come up, to again reflect on what you have learned, reflect back on your wisdom, and again take a corrective action for it. So, Dr. Shan, is that your question that you wanted me to answer about?
Yeah. So I just wanted to see. Yeah, you're on the right track. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Wonderful. So you have to
So
reflect.
for me, it's like
It's
a
important.
ripple effect. Anything can affect anything,
Right.
unless you know the right art of balancing it, or having a emotional hygiene as how we have a physical hygiene. And for emotional hygiene, all the practices starting from mindfulness, thinking deep within, understanding the laws of nature on how it operates, meditations, breathing exercises, all these things help in a way to build up your emotional hygiene. And only when you have an emotional hygiene, you will be able to develop the resilience to come over the emotions. And to conclude, one thing is that we are all humans, we are all emotional, we know, but because we get emotions, there is no need for us to be the slave of emotions. What we learn through emotional hygiene is that we will have emotions and use them as a tool in a toolbox but not let the tool overtake us and we act as per what the tool says. So let's learn to master our emotions instead of being slaves of it.
Wonderful. Wonderful. I like the word emotional hygiene. It's a very nice word, I think.
Yes.
No? So, yeah. So, what do you think, Mr. Theo? What do you think? Like, do you think that the family peace is affecting the peace, in the office, in the workplace, or the workplace stress is affecting the family?
I think that because the workplace is a combination of families with diverse philosophy and ideology, I think it will have more effect on the individual than the individual affect an entire group. And from my own experience, I realized that when you move from your small 2-family, 6-family unit into a 12-family unit or 20-family unit, which is a company or the work environment, you have more different ideology and philosophy to deal with than you have on your own. So I will conclude by saying, yes, I strongly believe that the work environment will always have a strong effect on the individual itself, because some people are there because of income, because of prestige, different religious ideology and philosophy. It's very hard for one person to influence that, but the group can influence each individual in different ways.
Well said, well said. So that is exactly, so you have different energies now. So even in a family, it's little bit energy. It's like almost your own energy, but it's like in a,
Working
it's like a Pandora box. You have different type of energies. We don't know, what energies they bring to the workplace. And therefore, they start to work and pick these energies by exchanging ideas, conversations, handshake, whatever way you do, this energy they pick up, and then they come to the house. They
Yes.
started to behave differently. It makes
Yes.
sense. It all makes sense. I think, Miss Pallavi, what do you think?
Okay, sorry about that short delay. So I want to give an example. Imagine you've had a really, really tough day at work. It's just been exhausting. And you come home. And at home, there is this toddler crying because they want your attention. They want to play and just crying his lungs out. And you're not able to, soothe the toddler down. It feels overwhelming, especially after such a hard day at work. And so to get out of that situation, you leave that room and go to another room, maybe to your office in the house. And you try to distract yourself. But the crying gets louder because now, the sound has to reach you to that room. That's what the toddler is aiming at. So you close the room door now. And that doesn't help either. So you put on your, earplugs. So do you see what is happening? Because all we're doing in such a situation is we are getting further and further and further away from the challenge that is there. We're sort of running away, shutting out, but the truth is that that problem has not been resolved. And it won't get resolved. And we know it. And that just adds even more to the stress, right? So what I'm trying to say here is challenges at work affect our way of life at home, and the challenges that we have at home, we carry it with us to workplace and everywhere else. And it just stays with us throughout. So really beginning to understand how to respond to these instead of trying to shut out, pretend it's not there, show it under the carpet, all of that.
Wonderful, wonderful. So you're giving a very good example of like how we are doing this. This is really what is happening in families. We want to shut down. You don't want your kids to listen. You go to a room, you shut down. Keep quiet. The voice we do that. The elders do that. And I think that is happening in the offices too. If somebody is not working, they want you to respond. The boss will be doing that kind of thing. Not listening to them properly.
And it's in
And
all kinds of relationships. It's so much more
yes,
easier to shut out and ignore than actually sit
know,
there and address it.
instead of looking from their perspective, what is they undergoing, what is their emotions. So these things we can see both in the family and in an office. We are not looking even in an office. If you look at like people are our family, bigger family, everybody has a problem. They come with different problems, and we don't look at empathetically. Instead we think we should avoid, shut that person, and instead we start to talk to them, communicate, listen to their, as families, the relationship will be maintained. I think the way it will be more impactful to learn in a culture, to be peaceful in a culture that is difficult to be. If you're staying to be like, if you train people to do good things in an office, typical corporate office, they would do good in the family, because it's a challenging environment. So put the people in the challenging environment and teach them something good, and they will then go and apply to the family. So that will be something to think about, a corporate program that should impact the corporate, and they take back to the family, because that's where they learn most of the time. They're there, and they instead of teaching the family, and you teach the corporate environment, that's the most stressful place, you see. And they take it back to the family. Oh, this is how we live in a corporate. We are peaceful. These are different cultures we live. I can live with you. You're like my wife, my husband, So that's something to think about, We need it globally. So anyways, so Ms. Selva, what do you think? And then we can have question answers, and then we'll go for a little bit broader topic like world peace, maybe. Yeah.
Thank you, Pallavi. Thank you, Dr. Sean. Peace. Peace is a great word. Once a person is able to achieve peace for himself, naturally there will be peace around that person, whether it's family, work, or society, because the end goal of co-realization is all about peace. That's very hard a goal to achieve, but not for the co-realized society, co-realized a family or work environment. To put it more simple and easy, I will use the terminologies which is more specific to the answer to the question about family, work environment, how to achieve peace. If you closely link the discord in the workplace or discord in the family environment, two things or one thing which will be standing out. What I've learned some 30 years before in my training department. It's about whether it's subjective or objective. This differentiation is lax or ignorance still exists when we interact with people, especially about willingness to communicate to resolve conflicts. Because the biggest challenge in work environment or in the family environment is the challenges, is the conflicts that comes between individuals, that comes between relationship, it comes between friends, everywhere. So when we see the conflict, rather than focusing on the objective to resolve the conflict, we focus on the subjective or the person. So the conflict further gets aggravated and the solution is not found for the challenges. So I think the terminology subjective, objective. When there is conflict, focus on the objective. What is the problem? How we can resolve the problem? How we can coexist in a peaceful way? So if we further zero in about subjective and objective, when it comes to subjective aspect of it, without focusing on objective, there is always a like and dislike. There's a human tendency that brings out, I like this person or I don't like this person. So this is what I mean about positive mindset. So when we talk about positive mindset in relation to subjective, objective, like and dislike, we don't know the reason why we like people and forget about the challenges and conflicts. When we like someone, we always think about the positive aspects of the person. We forget about all the negativity and we are pro to help them. But as soon as we tend to dislike someone, we forget all the positive aspects. We only focus on the negative and we don't want any good relationship with them. So this is the core problem of why the peace is not existing in workplace or in environment. That's what the coin today in corporate, the diversity, uniting diversity, how we can come together, how we appreciate people, how we can coexist, co-realization model. So when I'm talking about subjective and objective, I can coin two more sentences. Hard on problem, soft on people. What it means is that most of the time we become hard on people and soft on problems. It is the other way around what happens where the peace is not existing. So that's why when we focus on objective, we are hard on problems. When we focus on subjective, we are soft on people because that's not the people. It is a problem, is the real challenge. And that problem comes because of a like and dislike. When we recognize this four terminologies like subjective, objective, like and dislike, and which one we are focusing and what we are focusing, and are we focusing on the challenges that we have in hand and communicating with the willingness to resolve the conflicts. This is common sense, but sometimes common sense doesn't exist. So I would summarize and say that I'll go back positive mindset, keep it a broad perspective, see the universe as a bigger place. We are just a speck in this universe, and look things in a more objective way rather than looking at a subjective way. Thank you.
Wonderful. Mr. Theo, go ahead, please. Yes.
Yeah, very interesting topic. And something just flashed in front of me that we have to be very careful about talking about peace, the difference between peace and happiness. Because I could walk into a family that's very peaceful, but they're not happy. So we need to differentiate what we mean by peace. Because I can walk into a work environment that's very peaceful, but there's no relationship, there's no happiness there. So let us be very clear about the difference, what we're talking about, peace and happiness, and where the both of them are different, but we need both to exist.
Wonderful, wonderful. That's a new subject, I think, to discuss. Peace and happiness, there's a huge difference. And you want peace is kind of a neutral thing, but happiness is a positive thing, right?
Exactly.
So yeah, I think that's very, very helpful. So we can bring out that topic. It's a very interesting topic. It's a huge topic too by itself. So well, let's allow the people, before we talk on the topic on correlation, let's allow for some questions from the people who are listening here, co-realizers there also. They may
Hey,
be
Dr. Shan,
yes.
this is Abhinav. I
Yes.
want to say a few words. I
Yes,
appreciate
go ahead, please.
all the dialogue happening. And I don't know which one, but one of the books I wrote, Peace, P-A-C-E, is an external word, W-O-R-D, reflecting an internal word, W-O-R-L-D. And all this discussion, if I have to summarize, peace is a prerequisite to happiness. Because if internally, and what we see in the external world, work environment, family, basically the disharmony that we see in the world or in the workplace is truly, in some ways, a reflection of what is going on internally in our own mind as well. Because you might have heard this often said surround yourself with successful people. I hear it time and again at all the seminars. Who cares about the people who are not being so successful? Do we embrace them? If we are correlated, even at work, then we do care about them. We don't care only about the people who are successful and surround ourselves with them. We don't care about our own success, but we care more about everybody's success. So correlation
Yes.
can solve these problems of disharmony by first of all integrating your own personality across the spiritual, mental, and physical levels. That can lead to peace, and which is a prerequisite to happiness. The second piece of this is once you expand your consciousness in the model of correlation, from self, you become selfless, then you embrace others and you become every self. And thereby, you can almost throw a thought out there in the thought cloud instead of having, like Selvaji was mentioning, that we focus on the subject and not of the objective of solving the problem. We get personality based and we start, you know, cursing the person or calling them names or, showing them down in the meetings. No, we don't do that. We basically focus on solving the problem. And once we embrace this model of correlation, we become every self. We can see our reflection in their personality and their reflection in our own personality. Thank you.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderfully concluded. That's the summarize. You've given the summary. I think that is where we need to take this. I think this is kind of a knowledge that is needed. We need to make a very good curriculum for corporates, and this is the kind of curriculum a corporate really needs. I think we have a team of experts here who can make that possible, and let us see we can do something to the corporate level, giving a deeper program, like this. Well, let us allow others to opportunity to talk here. Please go ahead. Anybody, any questions? We have Terry, Nadraj, Vinail, Angela, please. Kiran, anyone? Shanuji, Dasta. Any questions? Any comments? Any questions, comments? Welcome. You can add, you can correlate. It's not that only the people here need to talk. You can add some points. You can add your own points. Inila, Vidya. Yes, Kiran, what do you think? Music, how do you correlate in music?
I just sent an article to Mr. Abhinav sir based on this correlation into the Nada Varma.
Okay.
So I would like to read that article to Abhinav sir. Are you there?
Yeah, he's here.
Yes, I'm here, Kiranji.
Can you see the WhatsApp, sir?
Yes.
Yeah. Can you please read that, sir? Because that is my idea, what I was thinking based on this.
No, you describe, Kiranji, you describe your idea. It is your original. I will be translator here. Please go ahead, sir. You describe.
How this correlation works based on basically co-realization in the sense that it's a combination of peoples, those who are willing to interagate with each others, right? So I'm talking right, sir? Can I, if I'm wrong, just correct me.
No, okay. You go ahead. There's nothing right or wrong. Whatever
if Tamil, can I speak in Tamil? Can I speak in Tamil?
No, people won't understand. You just speak in English only. Whatever you think, that's fine. We have different cultures.
So, like nowadays, like how this, in the first starting of the meet, I was listening how to get the peace into the family, right? So number one, peace, and then why this correlation is not getting to the people. So this is the main core, because peace is not getting to the people. If you want to interrogate some, for example, if I want to interrogate to somebody, they want to connect with my wave, right? First, those people who I just want to connect with them, they want to connect to my wave first. If not means how it will work, it will not work, right? So my question is how people are working. Like for example, we can take a company. Okay, just we can take some company or like any colleges. People works to the boss or to themselves. So for example, if I'm working in a company or working into somebody, if I'm working to myself or I'm working for my boss,
Yeah, it's a
we
very good
want to
point.
satisfy myself. I want to satisfy myself. Then I can get the peace to my family. I can carry that peace to my family. So
Very
I
good
hope
point. Very good point, Kiran. You brought a very good point actually. This is what we wanted to have. We create the environment in a job for them to do their own thing, and that can be included in a company. That's what the model we're looking at, right? Instead of doing things that we need, you know, giving the opportunity for them to do their own work and be part of the thing. So that is the correlation model we're talking
but
about. That
opportunity is
should
not
happen.
getting to the peoples to do that.
Exactly.
So that's what we want to change it. Like the people want to give their own idea. So boss want to accept that idea. But nowadays nobody having that accepting tendency.
No, there should not be a boss model, I'm telling you. This boss
No.
model itself should go away.
Yeah.
No
So when
boss.
it is coming, when no
We
no
need
no,
to have
that's
a
I'm
system.
saying.
Of course, we need a system. There's a leadership team and all they are needed for this, but they're not the boss. Remember, we are
Yeah.
only facilitators. Facilitator is different from boss. You only facilitate human potential instead of bossing. The
I'm
idea of
just giving
bossing
the
is that,
example. I'm just giving this boss as an
yeah, yeah.
example. For example, a commander or a teacher. For example, we can say a teacher. Like some teachers or maybe very good teachers are there in this world. Like Shan sir, I can say Shan sir is a good teacher for me. So in Verma, he's a good teacher. And some teachers, they want to give the input ideas to the students, but they are not willing to capture the students' idea. Then how the correlation works with teacher and student? Then how it works with parents and parents and the kids?
No, it'll happen. We need to promote that. That's what we are doing. It is not happening. So we want to bring that. That's why we have people here who can make that possible, because this is like a people, because everything went on with ruling and dividing, that kind of a thing. What happened in the planet? That's what happened. Everybody ruled, divided. They kill people, and they had a flag, and then they said, we are the great victory, all these things, and we start doing this. Everybody in a picture, they don't know what is this, but everybody take a picture. They will do this. It means, it's a victory when you win somebody. They do this. That means winning means there is instead of co-realizing, you're killing of people, removing them from your life, creating symmetries. So that things should change now. We need to embrace people, embrace cultures, different traditions, looking the consciousness on each and every human being. That is very important. Looking as conscious level, not this disappear, this kind of race, country, culture, religion should disappear. I mean, it disappear means I'm not telling the values. The value should be there. It should be integrated value, but not like, you biased on certain things. And that is what should happen for in a broader world. If you want to have a world peace, you start from family peace and in the work environment, and then only it'll expand. Your village will change and other things. So you, instead of keeping guruism in a close way, that they start to believe in that guru and whatever the guru says, and they won't believe the guruism ideology itself is an isolation, discrimination. Because when you start to follow a certain guru, what happens is that you're close to other gurus. Instead, we have a system. We create a system, correlation system, which combine the contents of the gurus. You can pick whatever you want from there, right? That model will work out very well. You're not isolated. Your ideas, everybody look for different things. So the guru system makes you closed. It used to be a good thing at one point. There was no guru system. Even in the Indian system, ancient, they did not learn from one guru. If you see, look at like all the ancient things, they learn from some bow and arrow from one guru. They will do the Carnatic from another guru. There are only several gurus for teaching. Today, the guru model is bringing like one person is the guru, this kind of thing. That model shuts down people to make them believe that there is a God like a guru. That's how the whole Christianity thing also came up, So there is again there will be divisions. So we need to come out of this system and embrace things that are valuable in different cultures, different traditions, put together, fuse together and co-realize. And that would be the future, I think. So anybody else, please? Yes, what do you think? Mr. Nataraj, Asta, Jay Kumar.
This is an interesting topic, Sean, but I'm just trying to absorb as much as possible. So I like that word is peace and happiness. Peace doesn't mean happy. From where we should start happy, or peace first or happy first. Make me to think deeper. Thank you for all the panels. Good discussion. I appreciate it.
Wonderful. Anybody else? We can conclude. Shanuji, Vanilla, Terry. Any comments? Okay. So no comments. We can conclude, I think. Yes, please.
I just want to, we talk about world peace, and I want to really say my piece that it's impossible to get world peace through the individual, because according to Thomas Paine in 1775, he said government was created because of man's inability to govern ourselves morally. So government exists because of us as human beings, inability to govern ourselves morally. So we need rules and regulation. So that's one weakness. So we create government because we just can't trust each other. And we need somebody to enforce the law and the system and so forth. Also, a prime minister, a president, or a dictator really don't run the country. It's the investors and those people who pay for all the advertisement dictate to the government how things are run. So when we blaming government or a country for not running peacefully, because those who are really running the system is hidden underneath the ground as the one, like the lobbyists who are pulling the string and so who don't care about our feelings and our emotions and what is right and what is wrong. They only care about the money and how to win and how to be self. So it's a very complex matrix that we get involved into when we talk about world peace. Because world peace is not, we cannot pinpoint who is the one causing world peace. Like an example, you have people who want war to continue because they can sell guns, they can sell uniform, they have this, they have that. They are somewhat disruptive part to peace. So I would say that world peace is a very moving target from each country and so forth, and is a very powerful subject I would like us to get involved with. But we must be very cognizant that world peace is not in the hands of the prime minister or the dictator or the president. It's in the hand of who put those persons there. And they're doing what they are said behind the scene. And that's what makes it more complicated and more difficult to attain.
Okay. Well, there are some comments here. Thanks. And Terry says, it's very interesting, Dr. Sean. Thank you for bringing this to our attention. Knowledge, I'll ponder on the topic discussion today and reflect on how I can incorporate what I have learned today into my everyday life and spread the knowledge to others. So, Shanu, outer world is a reflection of our inner world. If we are in a good state, we can see others in better perspective, responsive instead of reactive. Thank you so much. So, well, wonderfully said. I mean, I think the one thing that can be done in world peace is that what if we teach the kindergarten students at that level, like what Miss Pallavi does, where we talk about not hurting, harming anybody is so cruel. That kind of thing, that we teach them, and they become the world tomorrow. And if we have a curriculum that will take over from the kindergarten level all the way to the PhD on world peace is a subject, important subject. If we take that, where we discuss about what is war, where it starts, what is anger management, etc., etc., where will this lead in another 20-30 years?
I agree with you, Dr. Sean. I think that's the only way that it can we can actually see a change, by implementing this from the start with the kids. But that's also a challenge because these kids will go home to parents and it gets diluted.
No, they will teach the kids. If you look at like as you go in a little level, they will talk about something. But which one influences? If you look at the school influences or the parents, both influence, but the school influence is so high at a certain level, The school is influencing big time today. We would suggest, if they are living with a family, without the gadgets and everything, they learn many things from family. So today that is not there. So they have to rely on school, and therefore that will be the right place for giving
Also,
knowledge.
If you try to change the school system that way, then as the person that spoke before, the beneficiaries are not going to like that, because if there's equality, there's no superiority, and there's capitalism and rich being richer and influencing politics and how even the educational system is run.
Yeah, that's true. Yes.
I just want to say this.
Yeah.
This runs the world. Not our parents, not our teachers. This runs the world. And when I say a kid 2 years old with a laptop in his hand and 3 years old that know more about you and I, the people who program this control the world. Now, when you see that deep fake is 80% of the internet right now, there's nothing artificial about artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence has been disrupting the entire world. Right now, I was in a meeting with some of the biggest gurus of AI. And the shame, let me give you a good example. When a jury and a judge cannot tell if an evidence is fake or not, our legal system is terminated, because you cannot tell if it was you who said that, because you cannot tell the difference between a fake you and a real you.
Right.
And we need to take these things into consideration, that it was okay, the methodology that we was talking about 20 years ago. But in today's market, we cannot use the ideology of 20 years ago in today's market, because today's market is controlled by fake news, by manipulation. Look, I have seen some documents that look so real. I have seen Obama said things that didn't come out of his mouth, okay? So we are now facing a whole new system, and this is what controls the world. And if we don't integrate this, and last but not least, there is no containment at all, okay? There's no containment because Russia, China, India, United States, they all cannot agree on how to program and contain AI. The gate is open, they're all rushing, and they don't care who they hurt and who become a victim. Our kids are becoming a victim of this. I can tell you, I've heard the sexual thing that's going on, the porno going on, and this thing, all the crazy books that's going on, teaching children how to make love at the age of 6 and all that stuff like that, is what you and I learned at the age of 20, they'll learn at the age of 2. Now, that's the question. How do we are able to help children who are so brainwashed with this? I think that's the real problem that we have. No longer the parents, no longer the school, no longer everything.
Right.
Actually, I have a thing to say. So Mr. Theos sir said like this mobile is controlling the student, right? So our kids and students, everybody, this mobile is ruling this world. I agree that perfectly. So these kind of things, what our academy did, actually the mobile mantra system, we just created that. To I just said to my all the childrens, like even though guitar student or violin student, they can be a tabla student, anybody, they want to get some mantra from this mobile, and they want to analyze the meaning for that mantra, and they want to say this for 1 week, like weekly one mantra they want to say, at least one mantra. We just conduct this as a project. So what the kid they did first, some kids they did, oh, what is this, it's a bullshit, how can we do this kind of things. Some kids they did, after coming like that, they got some interest, because we just started to give some prizes and like coins, these kind of things to the kids based on their parents' help. So what they did, oh, for that money, that money, okay. So if I did some, if I got some meaning for that mantra, I will get some dollar. Okay, fine.
Exactly.
Okay, then I'll do that. Then what they will do, then after 1 week, all the kids, they are ready to say the meaning, and their parents are giving the testimonial report comparing to previous. My kids' behavior after reading this mantra and reading this meaning from that mantra, my kids' behavior is completely different.
Yes,
We can do that kind of help to the kids.
So today,
That's a very good idea, because that's something that they can practice outside of the school system in the home environment, and children are enticed by monetary means, and that's a good idea.
see,
Even
one
though we
thing-
can say this is a ancient modernized method, how Shansar is saying, right? Like that.
See, there are two things here. Are we worried about not only content? They see, when you're talking about cell phone, this is little out of topic, but I will tell you, there are things, one is like there is an energy, that idea, because you're not everybody is a physicist, scientist, electronic guys. They know how this is impacting in terms of waves. There's a huge thing there. That's number one. Number two is, even if you have a cell phone, is this age good for a cell phone? What are a cell phone doing? Cell phone is giving a new world to you, that you're isolated, you're going into that world and then not looking at the real world. You're missing your family, your kids,
Yes.
So all these things are number two. Number three, let us see, if we give the third thing, only we are talking about content. Are we giving the right content? So there are three things. Already this is like a negative. So we have no problem. Okay, this has been negative. We are accepting that negative. And then in that negative, we are looking at a positive thing. Okay, at least they are listening to some mantras. Better than other things. Even that is not positive yet. There is a bigger negative in a kid using a cell phone. Right? But we are trying to make it positive, thinking it is positive, still it is a negative thing. There are two things, bigger things happening. So now we need to definitely give the positive and then slowly bring them the knowledge, that three things should happen. This is not control. A family can do a big control. Policies of a government in a state or a region can do big controls. So we need to work in both directions. And then contently, people need to involve today, even if you're yogis, musicians, everybody, good people need to involve in AI. Why? If you don't involve, the bad people will take over. So there is a need for fighting. So you have to, like, it is always that you cannot completely neglect AI. For if you don't do that, people will fill in information that is all negative.
I agree, Dr. Sean. You should be
Yes.
knowledgeable in that sort of industry, machine learning and things like that.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. So that's why we need to involve, publish papers in this. That's how, because we need to climb up to climb down. There's no way. You have to, somehow they're making us, we are going to use this internet. No matter what we talk, any guru we see isolated, everything, you cannot be today. You have to, they will make sure you use that. But at least use that, as Kiran said, you use it positively. And that is how everybody will die little, reduce its cooking, because everybody will have
Also
cell
I
phone,
just
it's a
want to convey
microwave. Our lifetimes are shortened. It's done. Let's die together, that's fine. Right?
Also, I just want to convey one more thing,
Yes.
sir. Like, basically everybody say guru, like, good morning, sir, good evening, sir, hi, sir. Hey. But actually, the reason for in my academy, no, I just ignore this word, sir. I said this sir in the sense, slave I respect. This is the meaning for this sir. So you don't call me sir. So how can I call you sir? Just, we can start with one mantra. Like for example, Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu. Like that. According to the scientifically, this Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu has been proved. When you are saying this Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu mantra, we have 4 kind of waves in our brain, right? Alpha, beta, gamma and theta. So this alpha waves is basically when you are sleeping, it will produce. Alpha waves, it will produce when you are in a sleeping mode. But this gamma waves, it produce when you are in a meditative mode. These beta and theta waves, it produce when you are in a focusing mode. But actually, scientifically, it is proved when you are saying this Guru Mantram, your brain is producing this beta and theta waves. So I started to say Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu and start the class. So personally, I am seeing more improvement comparing to the last previous kids, how they are interrogating with me. After that, Guru Brahma, Guru Mantra saying that, after how they are interrogating with me. I'm just watching that, like as a teacher. I can see a lot of difference in their behaviors. So basically, it is changing the kids' behavior.
It's a powerful mantra.
Yes.
Beautiful.
I just
Pallavi,
wanted
just
to
please go ahead.
add here. Yes, I just
Yes.
wanted to add to what Desta and Kiran ji have been saying. With mindfulness itself, when it is brought into a school, it cannot be just for the children. The children cannot go away to another classroom and sit there for like 15, 20 minutes, practice what their teacher is telling them, and then come back to a classroom where the teacher is in a foul mood that day. And then they have to sit through her or his behavior, attitude, the tone, the body language, and go into more of a dilemma as to why is it that we get told to be in a certain way, to practice a certain way, and then the teacher is this way. Nor can they just go back home and say, oh, why is it we have to be this way, but our parents get to be any way they choose to, depending on their mood. So it has to be a holistic approach that is taken forward. So if we have to look at it from a school perspective, then it has to be towards the entire staff. If the board is willing to participate, bring the board also into it. Introduce them to these practices where perhaps in a year you give them 2 8-week sessions where they practice a lot, and then have them do a 10-minute guided practice every single day. So the teachers, the students, and the staff are all carrying the same attitude, minute by minute, hour by hour. Then it becomes a way of life in school. And then the children take it home, and hopefully the parents too will be educated in a similar manner, and everybody gets to live that same kind of attitude. Respectful, caring, compassionate,
Yeah.
focused. So that would be the way to approach it.
Yeah,
That would be
amazing.
ideal, but I feel like it's difficult for parents to integrate that when there hasn't been a system before to support it, and
Right.
maybe for the following generation can be useful as well, since the younger generation, even if they don't get to experience it at home, at least they will have the understanding to where when their children receive the same type of education, they'll have an understanding on how to support them.
Right. So one of the things that could be done is the school itself helps the parents by offering them, you know, how they have events here in the US.
Right.
The schools would just have like a Friday evening, you have something that's opened up for the parents, they meet the teachers and things like that. So maybe organizing 3 or 4 events like that to get the parents introduced to this concept itself.
Yeah, but
So
then
yes, it takes a bit of planning, but it's
Planning, yeah.
very doable. I'm sharing this only because about a couple of years ago, we did an application to start a public charter school. And this was how we planned it. And we were approved. So we're still looking for a place to begin, but it was very, very well received by the charter board itself, the idea.
That's a better idea instead of public schools, right? Because at least then you know the parents chose to put the children in that particular school, and they're willing to support them.
See, the thing is that doing like one group or one thing will not work. We need to bring it very globally, because every time other culture will influence. You cannot have an isolated culture living peacefully in this world. That is the biggest challenge today. There is no island. We cannot create an island of peace. You know, that's not possible. So we all have to work. That's why we need bigger teams. We wanted to bring this co-realization meeting as bringing all the different people, influencers, so that way, you know, a lot of people join, bring the government people and make them influence that. Make, you know, it's like a proposal I'm talking about. So this is a little beginning, but that's where we want to go. We want people to really involve the government policymakers. They should make big impact. Otherwise it's not possible. You know, one country you are doing, the other country will do something bigger and they say, hey, we sent our thing to mission and all. What are you doing? Your kids don't know how to use the cell phone. It's not possible. They are like competitive world. People think about, oh, I wanted to use this, you know, technology. If I don't know this, and it's very dangerous thing. Something serious need to happen from a, you know, like a UNO perspective, World Health Organization. Some research need to be done. That, like, you know, that's something to think about. Do like a research on these things, because there is no funding for doing something against use of technology. Nobody will fund. Big challenge. So non-profits only have to do that. Now, once you do that, it's challenging to, you know, bring that out also. There's nobody to market that. So we have like only we should now rely on consciousness. What else can we do? Why do we struggle? That's not our job also. So let us do what we can do. That's how much. If we don't have anything like big control, let's do what we can do. The best we can do. You know, at least in our family, we can see isolation time. Okay, this is the time you can see. This is the time we have to. Because even maintaining a family is a big thing than anything in this world now, today. It's a challenge. You know, so anyways, I think it's a very good topic. So please, Selvaji, you conclude and then we can.
Thank you for everyone for participating in this webinar program today. I thank you all the participants who participated and given your opinions. This is really valid. Our consciousness together will make this correlation happen for Siddha Vetha. Dr. Shan, thank you again, and thank you for everyone. Let's keep it going, and let's keep contributing for our society, for the globe, peace and happiness. Thank you.
Okay, thank you all. Mr. Theo, Pallavi, Abhinavji, Selvaji.
Thank you, sir. It's a good discussion and
Thank
a
you, all
good
of you.
meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Topic.
Thank you, everyone.